Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Rick Zanotti, and I'm joined today by my good friend Down Under. He's not down under, he's actually down under.
That's right. Yes.
It didn't sound right when I said my good friend Down Under. He's gone. His spirit is with
depressed.
us. He's depressed.
Yeah, that could be. This is down. I'm speaking to you from the grave.
That's right. His name, Blanchard. Geoff Blanchard, Double O Blanchard, also known as Geoff Blanchard. Right. He's joining us today from Down Under, Melbourne, Australia. And we've got with us manning the video switcher, the audio, and just himself. We've got Harold Muliati with us as well. Let's get going. This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com, your training and video partner. And we are back, and here we are. We've got a full show. We've got lots of stuff to talk about. Where do we start? Let's start with this.
Let's go over to
a new camera.
This is a new camera. I haven't bought a camera in a long time, 8 months. I've been good. I've been really good.
Gee, that's been a long time.
Yeah, I've been beyond good. So this is the Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III. And if you watch a lot of podcasts on this particular camera, you're going to find a lot of angry users, including me.
Why is
do
that?
we have any videos on what we did on this?
Well, I have the videos that you took yesterday.
Here, let's try one of the ones that we can show.
All right, let's go over to this one.
And there's no audio.
And hi everyone, I'm
Yes.
Rick Zanotti, and today I want to talk a little bit about the Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III. PowerShot G7X Mark III.
Pay attention to the perfect framing.
You know, my inclination is to keep the
Yes.
camera, and right when I started saying, yeah, you know what, I
Looks
am
like
going to
Herman
keep it.
Munster's head.
For the last 25 minutes, I haven't been able to do a thing with it because it overheated. I recorded less than 5 minutes of 4K.
overheated.
A fairly cool room. We've got air conditioning. We've got a fan on. LED lights which aren't generating any heat. And computer monitor which generates almost no heat either. And I'm holding it just by the very tip of the camera. It's not very heavy at all. And it overheated. This is now the 4th time it overheated in 2 days. And this time it took over a half hour to be able to shoot again, and I had to go down from 4K to 1080p. Cannot shoot in 4K consistently. I managed to get 9 minutes and 45 seconds yesterday in 4K. I don't know how. Earlier in the afternoon, it froze 3 times at about 5 to 6 minutes in air-conditioned rooms where it was cool. We even put the camera in a refrigerator. Yes, a refrigerator for about, I don't know, 45 minutes. It didn't cool it down. This camera has serious overheating issues.
Yeah, that was weird.
Uh-huh.
It's a great camera, if you could use it. I'm still going back and forth. Part of me really wants to send it back. Another part of me wants to keep it because I like it. It's ergonomically a nice camera. It takes good video. It takes beautiful pictures, has great color, but it just doesn't get it right. There's no 24p, no big deal. I'll shoot in 30, but frankly, why not have 24 Canon? I don't know. The overheating is really bothering me. Everybody made fun of Sony because they were the only ones who overheated. Well, guess what? They're not alone anymore. Canon, who never used to really overheat, is now overheating. So they haven't figured out, after all these years, the mistakes that everybody else made, and they put out a camera with a Sony sensor in it that overheats. By the way, the Sony sensor in it is probably 5 years old. This is coming from the, I believe, RX100 Mark III. Gee, Canon, real cheap of you not to get a current sensor. Or maybe Sony's not selling the current sensor because they have cameras they want to sell with it. Canon color science is good. Sony sensors are good. This is a stacked sensor, backlit, back illuminated, I believe.
Did I get blurry?
And
it looks
nice,
like
it's sharp,
in focus.
but it
No,
only
nice and
has
sharp.
contrast, detect, autofocus. Bad. And guess what? It doesn't even support phase detect, meaning if you wanted to put phase detect, you couldn't. Every time I think Canon's going to do something really cool, they blow it. Now I need to talk to William Sverchik, who said he loved this camera. It was one of his favorites. I don't know how he didn't get overheating with it. Unless, and this is a big unless he never really shot much in 4K except very little, like a minute or two. In which case you wouldn't see overheating, probably. My overheating came a little under 5 minutes, and most of the time between 5 and 6 minutes. It is supposed to shoot 10 minutes of 4K, 10 minutes. The Sony RX100 Mark VII, which is the competitor to this camera, all of a sudden, can shoot, according to Gordon Lang, who I trust, it can shoot over an hour and 5 minutes. It ran out of power and memory, but it kept going. It did bring up an overheating warning message, but it still kept going. You can look at the message and ignore it. It will shut down the camera if it truly overheats, so as not to damage any of the components. This one just shuts down. You get a warning, but it goes. It goes. You can ignore it for a little bit, but within 30 seconds it'll turn you off. It doesn't turn you on quickly. It's just not cooling down fast, no matter what you do. Cool air, nice breeze, air conditioning, refrigerators. 45 minutes it took to cool down yesterday, after one episode, in a cool, not cold, but cool conference room. It was probably 70 degrees in the conference room, or 68. Very pleasant. The camera heats up. I don't get it. And this time it was funny. It shot for about 6 minutes, and then I finished my recording, so it did finish. Then I turned the camera off or something, came back about a minute later, turned it on, and guess what? It got hot, overheated. So it must have been right on the edge of overheating. I got that video out, but you know what? There's other issues. Focus is an issue. Like I said earlier, it doesn't have dual pixel autofocus, but it sometimes works. And there are issues. For example, if you go into AF servo, which is continuous autofocus, and you're doing tracking, it won't work. The focus on tracking won't track. Of course, why would it, right? That's in 4K. Doesn't make sense. We shot a whole thing in 4K at the office yesterday, and it was totally blurry. My background, which was a white curtain, was actually in focus, but I wasn't, even though I was in front of that by about 5 feet, maybe 6. It's like, I don't get it. So they're not testing these cameras. They're just putting them out there, making a real quick buck. I wonder how many people are going to return these. I've seen about 5 or 6 podcasters already say they're returning theirs. I'm on the fence, but I will probably return it. I can't take the overheating. That's just too much. It just stops whatever I'm doing. I'm stopped. I can't travel with this because it'll overheat. I don't want to shoot in 1080p if I don't have to. I like 4K. I don't have to shoot in 4K, and I have gotten a little bit of overheating in 1080. So because I had shot 4K first, and when 1080 kicked in, it gave a warning, and I stopped. I didn't continue. It would have probably shut down. So we got issues. This is not a great camera in terms of reliability.
And at that point,
And that's where we got overheated.
That was 8 minutes.
You're not on, Harold? Your mic's not on.
Sorry. At that point, it overheated. That was at 8 minutes, so it was longer than some of the other ones. But yeah, that was in a cold, air-conditioned office.
I thought that's why I was going. I thought what we're going to do, we're going to keep going, and then it's just going to shut off because it's going to overheat.
It did. It gave me the message saying, "Camera will shut down, overheated."
You know what? I could never understand though. I could still never understand this. How a company like Sony supplies something to Canon. And why they would give them one that's going to do perfectly? Like if I want mine to be the best, so I'd give them a slightly inferior thing.
Yeah.
So, but then again, maybe Canon don't want to be left out. They don't want to be the only one who don't have an overheating camera, and so they can say they can compete.
No. What people underestimate is the enormous amount of cheapness they have in Japan. Cheap. I mean, cheap. They make the Dutch look very liberal with their money. The Japanese are really cheap, and it shows. They really cheap out on things. So it's a cute camera. It's got a nice little grip. You can hold it for hours. It's very light and it's comfortable, and it looks good. I mean, if you actually, you could move. Yeah, you can actually move the camera away from the back so it's not so hot, but it doesn't make any difference. The thing can come up here so you can see what you're shooting. Not much because it's dark in here.
Despite its small size, it's actually pretty comfortable to hold.
Yeah, so it looks like just for the heck of it, I'm going to record. So I am recording right. It's already overheated.
He did.
It really just overheated.
You know, it was on 4K mode. Like you weren't actually recording, but it was just on 4K mode.
Oh my gosh! It just turned it off.
So I guess that was.
I haven't been. You saw me. I just picked it up after 12 minutes. It wasn't recording.
I'll tell you what. There's Casey Stern's going to have a board meeting on this one on his show.
Oh wait, no, it's battery. That's why.
Oh, this is battery now.
Okay.
It looks like the same message almost. I can't read it with the lights on. Okay. I don't.
Oh, show the battery.
Oh, the battery. Now here's the. In 2019, right? This is the battery.
Oh wait, no. That's
goodness.
Oh wait. I got the SD card. Hold on, I got the SD card.
I was going to say that looks like an SD card.
Hold on. For a second, I went, wow, this looks an awful lot like an SD card. My finger was on the wrong thing. Here we go.
It's a small battery.
It really is a small battery, though. Let me release it. There we go.
I was just going to say the technology to get them that way.
That's it.
Oh, goodness, that looks like a mobile phone battery.
It does. It does. I mean, this is pathetic. You get maybe a couple of hours if you're not shooting 4K. And it doesn't matter because if you're shooting 4K, you get 5 minutes. That's it. It dies. For a second, I thought it actually heated up again. I went, oh my God. Because it looks like the same error message.
Yes.
It's a great little camera. It feels good. The picture quality is... Oh, did you by any chance take any of the pictures out?
I didn't take the pictures out.
Okay, we had some nice pictures. I don't know. Let me see if you can see these. Oh, the battery's going to go. So forget about that. So that's another issue. The battery goes like that in many cases. But the camera takes good pictures. It has a really nice look to them. They're very rich. The colors are beautiful. I took some slightly red sunsets the other day. They look gorgeous. It came out really well. But...
And I mean, the image quality on the video is very good. It's just if it.
Are you gonna switch? There you go.
The image quality on the video is very good. It's just that it overheats, and the focus it's
iffy. Harold shot me for 5 minutes doing I'm right in front of the camera. What was it, like 3-4 feet away?
Yeah.
And it looked okay on the camera, and then when you play it back, it's blurry.
It seems like if it gets you near the beginning of the clip, it pretty much keeps you for the rest of the video. But sometimes, I guess it's both a problem with the focus and kind of the screen, because the screen itself is pretty small, so we actually had a hard time. Really being able to tell if it was totally in focus for the video. Just playing it back afterwards.
Yeah, it was bad.
But even then, looking at that video, to me, looking at over here, it didn't look too bad. It looked quite sharp. It wasn't pulsing, wasn't going in and out. So it was quite
it just
usable.
loses you forever.
It just did lose it totally. Oh, but in that one, it never lost you once.
Yeah, but once it loses you, you're gone. It doesn't come back. It goes, I like you better. So it leaves. And you don't know when it's going to... It's unpredictable. Now, again, my biggest complaint is Canon. How many billions do you make as a company? And you can't find an engineer who can actually QA this crap? I mean, honestly, this is crap. When you put out a camera that overheats in 5 minutes, a brand new camera in 2019, after Sony did it for 3-4 years and were insulted laughing stocks for doing it, what does that make you look like? You're the retard who follows the laughing stock. So anyway.
I was just going to say, Casey Stern's bound to have a board meeting on his channel. I'll have to go have a look.
I'm trying to get him on. He doesn't return our calls. I think Sarah's going to kill him one of these days.
Have a drive up to...
Well, I mean, before he had the excuse that he was in Thailand.
Yeah, but now he has no excuse.
On the right time.
But, he has a podcast. If you haven't seen it, watch it, guys. We can put a link, I guess, somewhere.
We'll link to it.
The one where he talks about Canon hasn't done anything new for 5 years. And he's kind of right. Everything he's saying was actually true. They've done nothing new in many of these cameras, not the consumer line or even the prosumer line. They've done new in some of their higher end camcorders, but nothing much in the or even the C100, 200, 300s. They've done things, but they're just reusing the old tech over and over and over.
Yeah, but I think the thing is what we get stuck with is we're looking at all the cameras and looking at all the new ones coming out. But when they put something out like that, and the people who buy that, they're buying a camera. They haven't bought one. Oh, this is a nice new one.
Yes.
And they don't know that it's a fifth one. They're the same one that the one 6 months ago was probably better.
Yeah.
And that's...
I was watching
else who's looking at all of them.
I was watching a podcaster from New Jersey the other day. He was funny because he goes, I went in to get a new camera. And all of a sudden I walk in and there's this new Canon. I got it. I just got it. I wasn't expecting to. So he gets out of the store, he puts the battery in, and he starts filming himself instantly. And he's going, hey, this thing just overheated. Just right out of the store. And he starts getting other issues. He goes, it's not focusing on me. And it was funny because he just left the store, and then he puts a new battery in because he bought a couple of extras when he was there. And he goes, I've had this thing for 3 hours already, and he overheated. I cooled it down, then it overheated again, then it doesn't focus right. It keeps getting the wrong... Shit! I'm going to return it! It was actually funny. So, it happens. It absolutely happens.
Yeah. Oh, has Geoff...
I'm here, but I think I've frozen.
He lagged a little bit, yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to another subject. This is just a depressing part of what's going on with a new camera, which, by the way, this has a fully uncropped sensor output. It does 5.5K video. It downsamples it to 4K, and then has a complete output of the whole sensor, not just part of it. And they blow it.
Yeah, there's not much point having the great output if it switches off.
I know.
So you can't do it.
I know.
Unless you're taking 10 seconds at a time of B-roll.
And it has a microphone input.
Yeah, that is.
It's the perfect blogging camera if it worked. And I don't know if they can fix it with firmware.
Well, if they release any firmware
if they release
updates,
it, Canon's not famous for giving you new firmware.
I think people were ecstatic when they announced that the EOS R was going to get firmware, because Canon doesn't really.
Well, anyway, we just spent 20 minutes beating up a camera that doesn't even run for 5 minutes. So we should have only taken 5 minutes on this because it just dies. So anyway, we've just exceeded the overheating warning of the Canon by talking about it. So let's talk about something else. We've been looking at video editors. We've been looking at new video editors. I was really going to get into Final Cut Pro, but I don't want to spend the money. I don't a whole $5K or whatever on a new iMac at this point. So I got, especially since we spent $14,000 on 2 new Alienwares at the end of the year. So, I'm getting looks. My finance officer is going, "Why do you need a new iMac?" Well, because we bought 2 Alienware R51s, but they don't have Final Cut. Who cares? So, anyway, so that's making me become a little more. We have Premiere, we've got Resolve. They're pretty good, but they're a little heavier sometimes for when you just want something quick done. So we looked at the new. So we have some screen interfaces. Here's one. This is the new Adobe Rush. Now, Geoff, you get the Creative Cloud. Have you looked at Rush yet?
I haven't. I just saw your thing, and it quite amazed me because I thought it's got a magnetic timeline.
Yes, similar.
It looks very similar to the...
Isn't that rubbish according to Adobe?
Yes.
That's why Final Cut's so horrible. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if that's in Rush, you can bet your bottom dollar Premiere will go that way with a bit more sophisticated one.
Yeah.
So
I think Rush is the beginning of the new developments in Premiere. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Rush actually just uses Premiere project files, so you can actually just open up a Rush project in Premiere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
So did you show? I wasn't watching.
Yeah, this is the interface.
So if you look
Premiere
at the interface, it's very simple. You've got the timeline with the magnet, kind of a magnetic timeline. It does auto ripple, just like Final Cut. And then you've got transition. So, for example, if he clicks, we don't have it live right now.
It's just a screen cap.
But all your properties would be on the right-hand side of a clip, transitions, color, and it's pretty fast. It's a little clunky still on some of the UI issues, but it's not bad. It just only came out, 3 months ago?
When did they
I think
release?
it was
I don't remember when they actually released it.
at the Adobe Max event. So
Well, it came out. It came out quick. That's why it's called Rush.
They rushed it out. So it hasn't quite gone through a whole QA, but it works okay. It just has some QA issues.
And they have some features like keyframes, for example. They don't have any keyframes that are kind of IOU features at the moment, but they say they are going to add in.
And then we looked at another one, which actually is really nice. It's called, we haven't really done much yet with it, but it's called Hitfilm.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what's that sort of worth? Who's that from? How much does that cost?
That is free.
Yeah, they have a free version and they have a paid version.
I think that runs on a Mac too, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that runs on a Mac, Geoff.
It does.
Oh, I'll have a Hitframe, is it called?
Hitfilm.
Hitfilm.
They have Hitfilm, and this is the...
Hitfilm Express is the free one.
Is this one, and that's free. And then they have Hitfilm Pro, which has a couple of more features, maybe more effects, but not a ton more.
Yeah, it's mostly more effects features.
Yeah, and that one is, I think, $300 for 3 licenses. But most people use Refresh because it has almost everything, or Express.
Unlike most people that use it, you don't do too much. You just do a cut, fade in, fade out, because people go overboard sometimes. You said, goodness, it's only a meeting you're doing. I don't want people flying in from the left, twiddling out. I don't want to motion blare everything out. You're just doing standard things. You don't want to keyframe things.
And if you look at the interface on this one, if we go back, it's similar to Premiere. You've got on your left your
looks quite similar, doesn't it?
Yeah, what is that one? Your
media clip.
That's your media clip.
So you've got the source monitor, the
and then you
left,
have your
and
output
then
or
lower
program.
left is the media.
Yeah, and it's very easy to do in and outs, just like Premiere. You just say I for in, O for out, and then it creates a clip out of it. You can do multiple clips out of one clip. Goes on the timeline. We don't know if the timeline's magnetic yet. I think they have some auto fill features. So it might be.
The timeline, from what I was doing, it felt a little more similar to Premiere, the way you put stuff in.
But it's a more graphical timeline. Much nicer.
Is, yeah. And it was pretty intuitive. I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I just went in and I started doing stuff. Most of the keyboard shortcuts that I was just randomly trying worked and did what I expected.
It has a lot of transitions. It's got a ton of effects, tons of visual effects, and lots of good... Oh, they have one nice audio feature. When you drag in a clip, you can say drag the clip only without the audio. You don't even have to separate it from the audio.
That's good. Oh, that's
yeah,
nice.
you hold down Alt and you drag it in, and
Alt
it's only
drag?
the video.
Yeah, that's
I
nice.
think there's a way to do only audio too. I didn't figure that out when I was doing it. I just played around.
We
with it
did
a
this
little
5
bit.
minutes before the show almost. So
Yeah, that's pretty much true.
but it's pretty cool, and most of the shortcuts from Premiere work here.
Yeah, there's some from Premiere, some from Resolve that work.
Yeah, and I know there are professional video editors using Hitfilm, so they're using it in Hollywood and TV shows and other things. Meaning it's pretty robust and it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it does seem to be a full-featured video editor.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Well, so we've also got Filmora, which I haven't tried out yet, but we were Rick was looking into a little bit, and this is the interface for it here.
You have your media pool.
You got the media pool up on the upper left. And
They
then you've got your-
also have a snap feature like the magnetic timeline. They call it snap. And the nice thing about this one is, again, it's free. They have a pro version, but this is completely free. It has a lot of transitions, a lot of things you can do with the timeline, automatic ripples. So it's like a magnetic timeline. So the magnetic timeline's becoming popular out there, at least elements of it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people are calling it the magnetic
No.
timeline because I
No.
think they would get a phone call.
But Filmora is from Wondershare. Remember them, Wondershare?
Wondershare, yeah. And Filmora. That was the other thing about Filmora. They do have a free version of, because they have Filmora and they have Filmora Pro. Both of them have free versions, but they put a watermark on the video.
Right. So if you do the free, it's always going to have a little
Whereas
watermark.
Hitfilm does not.
Yeah.
Now, just go like if you somebody like us, if you've got either the Premiere or the Final Cut, is there a need to go to those other ones? Is it good to have
These are
because
faster.
They're faster and quicker because they're less featured. Can you just say throw?
No,
then
also they have more. I think they have better interfaces, quicker, and they're closer to a Resolve interface. Let's go to the Resolve interface.
Yeah, that one.
So
I do like that. That's my second one. I like for a quick one because
DaVinci?
it's. I like the real thing I like with DaVinci. It's just got those tabs where it says, editing, coloring, production.
do you know what the
output.
problem is with the tabs, though? Every
What's
time
that?
you go down to click it, you bring up the dock or the Windows status bar. It's sort of a pain because it's right at the bottom. Kind of UI issues that they never figure out.
But that's what I'll just do, like with the Resolve. So if you're not too familiar with the video edit, it's got the 1, 2, 3, 4 C. Because sometimes people say, "Oh, okay, I'll know how to do it." Now, how do I publish it? And they've got to go and find the menu there. It's quite in your face. You'd think, "Oh, okay, publish it all." And it's got big pictures of YouTube on there, so you know that's the thing to click to try and get it out to there, and that.
Which is nice.
And I've also got a picture of the from the Resolve beta, the cut page.
But for example, on the
like.
Mac, Resolve looks better than on Windows because the fonts are bigger, not by much,
Okay.
but they're a little more readable. These fonts from Windows are really small. They're pretty darn small. And the UI could use some help.
Yeah, I think the interface of Final Cut Pro does have pretty nice contrast in comparison to some of these other ones.
Yeah, Final Cut's great. It's got big letters, big everything. It's similar. And by the way, I would think Blackmagic kind of went closer to the Final Cut Pro interface than anybody else. Well, actually, all the new ones are doing sort of a Final Cut Pro look in a way. If you think about it, they're the first ones to really do that kind of look. And now it's becoming popular. I like it. Apple is the one who ruined good screen design way back when, like almost 30 years ago when they came out with the first Macs, because I think everything came out with the light blue color, if you remember, on the little box Mac.
Well,
And it was all light blue, very bad for your eyes. And now, 33 years later, they go, we've designed a new version of, this is actually almost 30 years. We're getting close. That was like late 80s, very early 90s. And now, if you look at they're coming out saying, now we have dark themes to help your eyes. You're the ones who ruin the eyes. Everybody copies Apple, and it's just so funny. Yeah, they now take the responsibility for making your eyes better after they've ruined 3 generations of eyeballs. So
yeah, because when they did the dark text on bright backgrounds, hardly anyone was doing it.
Yeah.
So they popularized
no
it,
contrast, no pastel colors and light blue. Makes you crazy.
And now everyone wants dark backgrounds because it's better on the eyes.
It's better on the eyes.
Finally, right? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, so. what I love with all these companies, though, with all the different things, is, you know, how horrible a feature is and how great theirs is, and then 20 years later it's reverts. It's so great, whereas in the beginning it was horrible.
Right. I know, it's funny.
If you listen long enough, something they criticize today, they'll love the next.
That's right.
In 10 years' time.
Well, with Apple, it's funny because Apple, whatever they hate, they later love, and then they create new things that have been out for 5 years. They're like Canon, the best technology from 5 years ago. And Apple's sort of the same. Here, we just created this brand new thing, but it's 5 years old in tech land. So, you know, the marketing departments are ruling everything, which is a little bit of a shame sometimes. I think that's it. Do we have any other? Oh, wait, there's one more, Geoff.
One more, is there?
Adobe Premiere.
Okay. Let's go to it.
We've got to talk about that.
Now, this is the quintessential Adobe Premiere look. It's not bad as far as the video monitors, but the timeline sucks. I think it's one of the ugliest timelines. You have to really expand it to get pictures. That's the part I hate about Premiere. It's not all that graphical.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is with Premiere, when I do it, I very rarely edit with pictures on the timeline because it just doesn't seem right. If you get it too big, it just gets too big, whereas Final Cut seems to just be nice where you can see a little bit of the picture and all that, whereas I never seem to have the pictures showing on the Premiere timeline for some reason.
You get it big enough and you're seeing all of one video track and one audio track.
I know. And it's like, and it's hard. I guess, can you pull the track off to a different monitor?
Yeah, you can. That is a nice thing about Premiere is they let you move
and then you
your
can
layout
see a whole monitor
and change it and customize it
as
much as you want, basically.
Yeah, but as I said, they're all got their points, and I'd still like Premiere. I love Final Cut as well, but I would never say Premiere's rubbish because it's not. I do like
powerful.
the interface as well. They're pretty powerful.
I agree with you. I learned how to edit on Premiere, but I always thought it was. And I liked it at first until Vegas came out, and I dropped Premiere. I went to Vegas, and I upgraded Vegas. We didn't copy that one, but I upgraded to Vegas the other day just to keep up with it. But I don't know. It still reminds me of Vegas from 20 years ago almost. It's looking, not 20, but 19, 18 years ago. It's still looking kind of old. It just, I don't know. It's.
So they haven't changed it a whole lot since it's been.
Not terribly so. There are changes, but when I look at it, it just reminds me of old. It's just a shame. I mean, it's a good program. I've edited a lot with it for a good 10 years, but I don't find it as graphical or as nice as some of the new ones. And I think that's really what it comes down to, what you're comfortable with. Every one of these tools can do the job for you. What are you comfortable with?
And I think it is great that we've got so many good video editors to choose from now.
Yeah. Now, for you people watching, all one of you, we'd like you to let us know what video editors you use and why. What do you like it? What do you like about it? What would you consider going to if that video editor didn't exist anymore? Give us some feedback below. Write a note and just say, hey, it's not going to be a lot of notes. There's only one person actually who ever watches, right? So maybe two, something like that. But anyway, whoever you are out there lurking in the background, please send us a note. Let us know what video editors you are using and why. CIA will be watching you later. Anyway, but it's fun, because the video editors are all almost the same in a lot of ways. It's what you're comfortable with, what you feel can do the job quickly.
Well, yeah, they're getting more similar. Like I said, it's both interface and the keyboard shortcuts. In a lot of cases, you go from one to the other and you're just pushing the same keys. Hey, they're actually doing what I expect them to.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I like with Final Cut that I don't think you can do on any of the others, on a scene, on a say 5-second scene or whatever, you can apply effect in just 3, 1.5 seconds in the middle of it. You don't have to have a separate cut. You can start the effect and finish it within the clip. You don't have to apply it to the whole clip. Whereas every other one, you have to cut it and have just that clip with that effect to do that. And sort of keyframe it in and out.
The other thing that Final Cut has that I don't think the other ones really have is their audition thing, where you can have more than one possible clip that you're going to put in.
Yeah, so that's excellent. You get the thing into, I'll put all 3 of them in, and then I'll flick between. The only problem with that, though, there is a problem, is if you've got an audition allowed for a 10-second clip, and you've got your 3 other clips in there, and they're all 15, 20, 30 second, it extends the line. It doesn't just replace it. But as I said, that's that. But what you can do, you can double click, open that up, and edit it in the audition before you put it in the line. You don't have to go out and change it. You can just open up the line and cut it in the audition. I think we're off now.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
We're
running late.
That's our final cut.
Yeah, that's our final cut.
All right.
But anyway, that was fun. And you know what? The video editors... Oh, by the way, Hitfilm has one really cool feature. It does automatic keyframes for things like titles or other objects. If you want to fade something, the minute you start fading it, it gives you a keyframe. When you finish, it gives you another keyframe. That's pretty cool. So you don't have to even put them in. You can modify them later. Nice features.
All right, well, let us know, those video editors, which one you like, and we'll see you next time on Tech Down Over.
Have a good one, everyone. Thanks.
Bye for now.